a question that seems to fit in here as well around how do the SRA arrive at the level of fine? And actually, again, this is something that we've seen them talk about recently. Um, from July 22, the SRA actually had increase in fining powers, and that increased again significantly. And I think again, this is why again we've seen more activity, we've seen more interest in the fines that are coming out because they've jumped. The bracket actually widened quite significantly from 2,000 to 25,000 for traditional law firms. So it's a pretty significant increase, and being fined £2,000 probably doesn't get as much media attention, as much of our attention. It doesn't spike our ears as much. So again, I think that's impacted why we've seen more, or why we've heard about more of the fines. Um, but a financial penalty is aimed at removing any financial or other benefit from like the conduct that kind of happened. It's designed to maintain the professional standards and then upholding the public confidence as well, which is a big thing around why they're fining. But for all firms, when a fine's been imposed, it's typically done on a percentage of annual turnover. So that's how they decide the level. So it's like this, it can be up to something, is it 5% of domestic turnover, um, for based on your regulated activities. So it's only on your regulated activities, the turnover is done. Um, Interestingly as well, you mentioned the deadline of Monday, but there is, again, there's lots of activity. We did say that, didn't we, at the top of this session? There is a consultation out on the fines changing again. And so if you haven't read that, go and take a look at that as well. But the deadline for responding to that is the 20th. So that's actually Friday, is it? Yeah,
Yeah,
Friday.
it is. Yeah,
So
yeah,
if you haven't read it, go and take a look. There's also a really I would say insightful. You might not agree. There's a YouTube video that the SRA did, all focused on this consultation and the changes and the reasons why they're asking for the changes that they're asking, or why they're going to consultation on the changes that they're thinking about as well. So yeah, that's just a little bit of kind of how they arrive at the fine that they do.
yeah. I mean, it's worth. I think it's worth saying, Harriet, that that they've effectively got unlimited fining powers now for money laundering regs breaches. Um, and you're right that that has increased from £2,000, a couple of years ago. So a word of warning as well as this consultation that is closing on Friday. They're also asking the government for unlimited fining powers for all manner of misconduct, and not just economic crime. Um, but yeah, effectively, under this new consultation, at the most serious end of conduct, they are looking to increase fines to up to 10% of global turnover. So if you're a US firm with a London office, then that could be very significant. Um, and and bear in mind, of course, as well, that these are cases that they foresee aren't serious enough that would be referred to the SDT. So they're thinking these are cases that we can deal with in-house at the SRA without having to refer it to the SDT. So in their heads, there are scenarios where the minimum fine that they would fine a firm would be £500,000.